Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing. So just to quickly interject before you join me in the cockpit for the broadcast, I have at the end of this video added 5 or 6 different overtakes that I've made earlier on in this week that I couldn't actually fit into this race itself. So if you stick with me to the end, I'll give you some more ideas on where I believe there are good places and safe places to overtake. So without further ado, I'll let you join me in the cockpit. Hello and welcome to another week of Sambo iRacing. This is the second in the series of trying to go from the back to the front to show overtaking places live in week, so that as well as just getting the lap guide and you can see how to hot lap, you should hopefully be able to see whereabouts there are good places to overtake on the track. So standard start, just below 5,000 revs, come off the clutch nice and easily, always get that nice jump on a couple of people. One on the inside, one on the out. Try and thread it round the middle. Nice. Couple of passes. Okay, so now I've got to try and start hunting down James. He went wide there. Allow me to just tuck in. He's now behind me. That's fine. Okay, so we've made 3 spaces. That's okay. So let me, oh wow, why is he braking? Sorry guys. And sorry to James. Yeah, this is one of the challenges of obviously racing from the back, is that even in top split you come across people that brake in places where, sorry, a bit of snap oversteer there. You do come across people that brake in places that you shouldn't expect, and you've got to try and keep from being inside their gearbox. And unfortunately, I failed that with James, or was it Michael? I failed that with Michael, but luckily I managed to get off the throttle. Oh, he's gone wide. That's never a good thing to do there. Yeah, so luckily I managed to see that he was braking hard and avoid him. Just pass him on the outside here. He had to get off the throttle as he let the guy in front of him go back into line. Take it nice and wide in case he tries a lunge. He hasn't done. That's great. Yeah, so it is tricky running from the back, especially at Charlotte, especially with so many turns, and we're only a couple of days into the racing this week, so people are still learning the track, as I say, even in top split. He's gone very wide there. He's going to let me just nip in here. Oh, he's on the grass. So yeah, let me know in the comments how you're getting on. How did you find the track guide this week? Has it actually been helping? Have your times been improving in qualifying? I am currently, I think, 3rd in the world rankings. There's only been about 2,000 people driven though so far. I think my best quality time is a 24.7. I think Matt Zerbe's has got a 24.6. And Caleb Bellack, who is leading this race at the minute, he's got a 24.5. He's a very fast racer from either New Zealand or Australia. I can never quite tell what with the accent, but he's another, I think, karting phenomenon. So good luck to him. So how far have I got? 1.2 seconds to get to Frank. I've raced with Frank many times. He's a good racer. He's certainly not going to give me any easy spots, I don't think. What's this guy doing over on the right-hand side here? He's not a back marker, so is he had an off? Well, if he has had an off, that's something you should always watch for. So if someone's had an off, the chances are they're going to be quite grippy on their wheel. So let them know that you're about. The pressure's already on them. They've probably got that cold sweat that we all get once we've had a bit of a spin, or if we've hit the wall or anything like that. So put lots of pressure on them and see if we can get them to have their own little bit of snap oversteer. This next corner coming up is always a good one for that when people are stressed. Where's he going? There we go. Yeah, he's run right and he's spun. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. It does happen to the best of us. Jonathan Gibbons. up to 5th from 11th. But you'll notice the difference between this and somewhere like Lime Rock. It's running wide there so that I can get a nice early throttle. Yeah, it's not as easy to run straight through the back. You've not got that long straight, which is good to close up. Sort of fighting for every moment. Try and get as close to Frank as possible, put some pressure on him, see what he does. Frank didn't defend thin air there, he just kept his line. It's not a wide line, it's not a tight line, it's just the right line. Down the inside, he's having none of that. So this is this sort of mid-race point. We've done 4 laps. We're halfway through. Really hoping for some mistakes from those guys in front of us at the minute. The thudding you can hear in the background is my butt cooker. I like to know when I've changed gear properly. More concentration this week than last week. Ooh, a little bit of a slide out from Pablo, our fiery little friend. So the thing is, you need quite a big speed differential to be able to overtake someone here. So half the time what you're looking to do is put pressure on them, just to try and get them to make the mistake to allow you to pass, because you're never going to be able to just cruise past them on the straight using the draft, which is always a shame. So what I'll do at the end of this race, I clipped a handful of overtakes that I've done in previous races this week, so I'll stick those on the end so that you can see some other overtaking opportunities that you might, or that might present themselves to you in the race. So Frank's taking T2 very well. That's one of my favourite places to overtake. Not in T2, but you set it up in T2 with a wide entry. Allows you to get under them. Ooh, a little bit of understeer, oversteer there. There's Frank running wide there. Ooh, sorry Frank. It did say a 0x on my screen there. Problem I've got is living in the wilds of Borneo. My latency to Australia means I've got to go all, my ping's got to travel all the way to the east coast of the US and then back across to Frank. So we do occasionally have that netcode issue. Big crowd today. Everyone's very excited for the Formula Vee race. We appear to be catching as a group the guy in second, which is good. Hoping for a nice concertina when everyone gets together. Usually means there's going to be contact. Certainly at Charlotte. Frank firing cones at people. Yeah, so if the guy in front of you is quite competent and doesn't make any mistakes and knows what they're doing, it is very, very difficult to pass around here. Certainly a little bit of oversteer there on entry. That's the thing, when you do get a little bit of snap oversteer like that, just steer into it, a little dab on the brakes, back on the throttle, just control it. Which is something that I wasn't doing just over a year ago when I was starting out. I was spinning a lot. Oh, hello. Oh dear. Bit like that. Okay, so up to a podium position. Shootout between myself and Frank. Now, one bonus of them going off there is it means that Frank doesn't have a draft. So whilst the draft isn't as strong here, so a place like Lime Rock, if you're 1.2 seconds behind the guy in front, then you've got draft lock on them and you can start closing that gap. Here, because we're not going in a straight line very often, and we'll keep going around corners, the draft tends to kick in at about half a second, 0.6 of a second, something like that. So the fact that Frank hasn't got that any longer from the guy in front of him just gives me that little bit of extra help in trying to a bit of oversteer kick again there, trying to close up to him. I think my best bet is going to be turn 2. It's a big braking point, a nice early throttle. We're coming into the last lap here. Nice wide entry, get on the gas nice and early, see if I can close up to him by entry of T2. Take a wide entry on the grass. Get on the throttle earlier than he is. I would prefer to go on the left there, but he's covered that off. So I'm going to go around on the right hand side. Now it is slidey in here, and you have to make sure you don't understeer out and hit the other guy. Seem to be through it now. That's not Caleb, is it? No, that's a back marker. Caleb 7 seconds up front. It's not too bad to have come through from 11th and still be within 10 seconds of him. Just got to make sure I shut off this inside here. Take it narrower line and don't give him the inside on the main straight. Close it off immediately. Very difficult to pass on the outside there on the final. And a second place. Right, fantastic. Right, stay with me now for some bonus overtakes and I'll see you again for the next track guide. Okay, this next one, seeing as Charlotte is like the V Monaco Grand Prix and there are very few overtaking opportunities, this is where the start's really, really important. So if you go back to my start guide, it should be on the top right of your screen now, how to start the V. Just under 5,000 revs, slowly release the clutch. I've got my telemetry there so you can see what I do. Starts can be really, really important if you're at the back of the grid here at Charlotte, and it allows us to really help. You see the guy in front get wheel spin. You can make an easy position up like that, and then if you've got the run, just stick it round the outside. And here we are, absolutely fine. We've made 2 places before we even get to the hell that is turn 2. Okay, so for this one, this guy had been in front of me. He was going really wide and taking turn 6 really wide. So just leaving the throttle on that little bit longer using the right brake point for the inside, nice clean pass. So practice when you're testing doing that inside line by yourself. Okay, for this next one, what I look to do here is I'm trying to get past this red car ahead. So I've got two options now. We're at turn 5, we've got turn 6 coming up, and you can either attack on the outside or the inside. So I'd noticed that the red car was taking quite a wide entry into turn 5. So what I want to do is I want to show really early on that I'm going to attack his inside. Hopefully I can then get him to alter his line. Now, if he does it early enough, it allows me to attack on the outside, which would be my preferable thing here. But what we see is, because I go there, he is now going to take a really narrow inside line, and it's a line that he hasn't been taking in the race at any point. He then overdrives himself. He goes into the corner too hot, which means that he can't actually keep to the apex. I brake nice and early and make sure that my car's going at the right speed so that I can take a nice inside position on him when his car drifts out, and it allows me to get a nice easy pass done. So he goes wide, allows me just to nip in there, and it's a nice risk-free overtake. Next one. Okay, for this next one, we're now running out of different corners where you can overtake. This is a nice straightforward one into turn 1, got the slipstream on him. Don't give him the idea that I'm going to do it, and then just as we're getting to the braking zone, that's when I start braking, but towards the apex, slightly later than he is, so that as we're approaching it, I'm now trailing off, taking it nice and tight, 2 wheels on the asphalt, off the asphalt, sorry, and a nice straightforward take into T1. Okay, so that's that for this week's guides on Charlotte. Hopefully that should have given you some ideas on some places where you can overtake. Let me know how you get on, and best of luck, and I shall see you for the next track guide, which will be Rudskogen in the V and the Formula Ford. Rudskogen is one of my favourite tracks, and it is nearly as technical as Charlotte, but it does have a straight in which you can just about overtake, and there are plenty of places to again, cause uncomfort for the person in front of you so that you can try and pass them. Thanks again. See you next week.